CGI Stereotypes and Allegories, the movie. Hi again, I'm Ryan, your host of The Toast. Haven't done a video in a while because I've had a martial arts seminar this weekend. I can barely stand today, but we're going to talk about Sausage Party. Frankly, I'm exhausted, and this movie's been out for a while, so this is going to be a really short review. I was actually going to eat a sausage during this, but somebody ate them all, so there goes that joke. Anyway, Sausage Party. This movie's first line of dialogue is the word shit. Yeah, now you know what you're in for. So as I'm sure you already know, this is a CGI movie along the lines of Pixar, DreamWorks, that kind of thing, except this one's about sausage. Well, food in general, but it follows the main story of Seth Rogen's character, Frank, as a sausage. Well, I think he's more of a wiener. Anyway, it starts with a big musical number like all family big CGI movies would do, except this one is pretty crude, but it does lay down everything you need to know. Now, right from the start, I gotta say, this movie is pretty damn racist. But in a good way. Can you be racist in a good way? Honestly, it's amazing how many people or groups have a food comparison. Puns and jokes that cannot really be made without some racial insensitivity. But then again, everyone is offended by everything nowadays, so... If it makes you feel any better, all races, genders, and sexual orientations are made fun of equally. Oh, and religions. Now, the food's perceptions as human beings as gods and the blind belief of a great beyond the grocery store is a very potent one and really does drive the movie forward. Now, this kind of theological debate, because it's in a different context, has the advantage of circumventing the flaming torches that this kind of talk can incite. They even mention in the movie how the opening song has been skewed and warped since its inception by these different groups of food and molding it to their own views and beliefs. Now, I have to give the movie some credit because it's not all just religious bashing or atheist points of views. They really do make it a point of giving you both sides of the argument, so it's not just a head-on collision. But in the end, yeah, it really does simply lay out in a cartoonish way of how skewed belief systems are, even when presented with conflicting evidence. And the last time we saw a movie get its point across so well, especially using allegorical context, was The Invention of Lying. Excellent film using the absurdity of its premise to get its point across. All the allegory in Sausage Party really does give this film a strong backbone, even if the execution is a bit ham-fisted. See what I did there? Apart from the not-so-subtle subtext and the increasingly dirty jokes, it's always interesting to me to see things from a tiny perspective. You see it a lot in Pixar movies and other family-friendly genres, but because now CGI is so much more accessible and cheap to make, now we get to see it in a grungier, more disturbing perspective. Seriously, 10 years ago this movie would not have had the backing to be rendered in CGI, but now Pixar is not the only game in town. There's even a bumper sticker in this movie that says Dixar. Sausage Party is a fun time if you can handle it. Now, it does suffer from a very slow second act and a total reliance on shock value humor. Made somehow even more shocking because it's animated like a kid's movie. This movie did make me laugh, but not as often as I was hoping, and frankly, it just made me kind of uncomfortable. Guess I'm a bit too innocent for my own good. Point is, I wanted to see this movie because it's a comedy. I wanted to laugh, not cringe. In that case, it didn't really fulfill its purpose, unless its purpose was to make me cringe. That's why I'm only going to give it a beans on toast. I mean, it's fairly tasty, but it definitely does give you some ideas to chew on. Not as tasty as Meatloaf, though. That shit is awesome. This movie was much more of a test of how much can we get away with. Granted, animation is a lot of work, but sometimes boundaries do need to be pushed. Anyway, if you want to check out more from me, click away, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers! I've heard people say that puns are the lowest form of humor, but frankly, I think they're quite a high form of humor. I think they're quite clever. I mean, come on, bonogamy?